Hello, Unoma Azuah. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Matilda.
So before starting the interview, can you briefly introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Unoma Azuah, and I was born in Delta State in a town called Asaba. I'm sorry, in a town called Ogwashuku. My mother is from Asaba. And my mother is from Asaba. My father is from Benue State, from a town called Boko. And I schooled at Nsukka, mostly, from University Primary School to Queen of Rosary Secondary School and the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, all of these at Nsukka. And I have my master's in English from Cleveland State University in Ohio. And I have an MFA, Creative Writing, Fiction and Poetry from Virginia Commonwealth University in Richmond, Virginia in the US. At the moment, I teach writing at Wiregrass College. It's in Valdosta, Georgia, USA.
And when did you start writing and why? Is there any particular event that triggered your desire or your need to write?
Yes, and that's quite a long story. I lost my father early. I lost my father when I was 6 years old. And I think that I was closer to my father than my mother because I spent most of my time with him. He was a soldier, so he was hardly home. But when he was home, we spent a lot of our times together. And when he died at 6, it was so traumatic. I didn't understand it. And his death was wrapped with so much secrecy. Maybe for my mother, it was a way for her to protect me. I didn't know, but it took me a while to get closure on his passing. Then at the age of 9, I realized that there was something different about me compared to my friends who liked boys, but I didn't. I just felt I was drawn more to girls. And I was afraid of what that was. So I couldn't really express how I felt or what that strange phenomenon was for me. So in grief, in trying to mourn the passing of my father, and then in trying to grapple with all the complexities that came with my sexuality, I resorted to writing. So as a form of therapy, I started writing, and I remember scribbling down what I call questions for God. And if you don't mind, I'd like to share just a little excerpt from my memoir where I chronicled some of these experiences that were actually the very and dense stage of my life when I found a lot of healing and therapy in writing. So this is from page 94 of my memoir, Embracing My Shadow, Growing Up a Lesbian in Nigeria. And it's the second paragraph on page 94. A lot of times I was in my own world, writing, brooding, writing sad poems and stories. In my stories, though, I usually made myself the main character with my father as a hero, and he will come and take me to paradise where I'll be with him forever. Sometimes I use my grandmother's stories as background stories when I write. Sometimes I continued with the series I entitled Questions for God. I became so obsessed with these questions for God that even in class, when lessons would be going on, I would be engrossed in writing poems. That never stopped. And Mr. Gugwa, my literature teacher, made me continue writing. He would ask me to write the same poem in 5 different ways and show them to him when I was done. Maybe he thought he was punishing me, but I started enjoying writing. I would skip his classes and assignments with the excuse that I was busy writing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So your research and activism focuses on LGBTQ rights. How are same-sex relationships represented in Nigerian books, films, and visual arts?
Sadly, not good. LGBT themes and stories are not represented well in Nigerian novels, films, and art, especially in the early stages when I encountered or when I was searching for art forms that I could relate to that dealt with issues of sexuality. So in Nollywood, for example, the gay characters are always punished. I remember Nollywood movies that I saw very early, and I was excited because there was a gay theme to it. Beautiful Faces is one of them. The girls were, of course, punished at the end and gotten rid of. And then another one called, I think it was Women Affairs, shows how if gay characters are not punished or dealt with or painted as demonic, they're made fun of, they're ridiculed. And in the movie, I think it's Women Affairs, the character Mercy played had to rub some lotion from when she was with a group of lesbians. When she rubbed the lotion, she more or less went wacko. She ran out of the street and was chasing every girl, be it a hawker, a strange woman buying something on the roadside. It was just crazy and ridiculous. Then when it comes to novels, the earliest encounter I had with a gay character in a Nigerian writing is with Wole Soyinka's The Interpreters. And unfortunately, that to me wasn't positive because the gay character, Joe Golder, for instance, was an alien. He wasn't really a Nigerian. He was a foreigner. To me, that was symbolic of how his sexuality is alien, basically, to Africans. There were other issues that Golden had. For example, he was the one that drove one of the characters, Noah, to his death. And then Golden had a huge void inside of him that he couldn't quite fill. He was back home in the motherland, you know, but he felt like a stranger. He felt homeless. He felt like a motherless child, you know, and at the end, he didn't quite fulfill his potentials as a character in the novel. But hopefully with time, gay characters in novels started coming up with a more balanced, objective slants. For example, Jude Dibia came out with his novel, Walking with Shadows. And that's one of the most honest and objective novels I've read about a gay character because the protagonist does what every other gay person does in Nigeria, especially at the initial stage. He gets married, so nobody calls him out until being single. He goes ahead to be a father. But eventually, he had to face his fears and the lies and the falsehood to realize that he couldn't deal with it. He was actually a homosexual man who couldn't honestly be married to a straight woman and remain happy in the relationship. And then, of course, there's also Chinelo Obaranta's Under the Udala Tree. So there's hope, you know, things are getting better. In art, I haven't really encountered a lot of gay-themed paintings or artwork, but I'm encouraged by an artist called Tina Adebowale, who has more or less used her artwork as a tool for activism. And one of her paintings that I really like is titled, Give the Girl Child a Pen and Not a Penis. So things are getting better, and I'm very hopeful for the future of LGBT writing and art in Nigeria.
So your most recent book, Embracing My Shadows, is the first Nigerian lesbian memoir published. How was your book received in Nigeria?
It's a mixed, it came with a lot of mixed feelings. People were surprised. Some people were surprised, like, how can you do that? This is a very sensitive topic. You know, why would you want to write something of this nature when there are other issues that are more urgent? You know, issue of poverty, unemployment. And I talk about how, no, every issue is important because it relates to us. If it's about food, if it's about sexuality, if it's about education, it's all part of a human nature. So I don't think that one should take precedent over the other. So, and there were also those who said, well, this is very courageous of you, you know, thank you for doing this, especially the people in the LGBT community. Thank you for giving voice to this issue and for having the courage to write about your life, to tell your story. you know, to create that platform for dialogue or for debate. Yeah, I'm hoping that with time, maybe as I continue to share my story, that people will begin to maybe ask questions and listen instead of attack or condemn.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much.